Welcome to the Ron Roberts Radio Show with Southeastern's head football coach, Ron Roberts, on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network. It's your chance to hear directly from the head of Lion football. The Ron Roberts Radio Show is sponsored by LA's First Choice Auto Auction, Track, Topola, Bloomberg & Associates, Mealy Printing, and the Crescent Farm. Now, live from Topola in downtown Hammond, here's Alan Waddell.
Saturday night, our Lions welcome in the number 5 team in the country, Sam Houston State, to Strawberry Stadium. This game was billed as an offensive shootout, but the defenses came to play, and the game went back and forth as our Lions came up just short. Games like these usually come down to a few big plays, and Saturday was no different as Sam Houston was able to convert some fourth downs into touchdowns, and Southeastern had to settle for field goals. This was certainly a tough loss for our Lions, but they must bounce back as we head to take on the McNeese State Cowboys this weekend. Coach Roberts currently has a 4-1 record against the Cowboys, and our Lions will need to play well to knock off McNeese this weekend in Lake Charles. Good evening, Lion fans. I'm Alan Waddell, and I want to welcome you to the Ron Roberts Radio Show live from our home, Topola Catering, right here at 113 East Thomas Street in downtown Hammond. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be with you until 8 o'clock. Over the next hour, we'll get Coach Roberts' thoughts on the game against Sam Houston State, and then turn our attention to McNeese State this weekend. Let's take a timeout. When we return, I'll be joined by the head coach of your Southeastern Lions, Ron Roberts. You listen to the Ron Roberts Radio Show on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network.
Louisiana, one luxury automobile dealership stands apart from all the rest, Mercedes-Benz of New Orleans. It's more than just offering Mercedes-Benz vehicles, it's Star Service that prides itself on customer relationships.
From valet service and Mercedes-Benz loaner cars, our customers enjoy award-winning Star Service. Come see what Star Service is all about.
Visit Mercedes-Benz of New Orleans on Veterans in Metairie or at mbofno.com.
What does it mean to be Southland strong?
It's not just big wins.
It's success in the classroom
and being engaged with service,
family, passion,
integrity,
overcoming adversity,
hard work and dedication,
bettering people around you,
striving for excellence,
leadership and competition
on our campuses
and in our communities.
We are Southland strong.
Hi, Ayla Gazzardo, head coach women's basketball. Hope you're excited about our season. I know I am. Come get your season tickets now and line up.
All right, welcome back to Topola Catering. This is the Ron Roberts Radio Show. Thank you so much for joining us. We do this each and every Monday night from 7 to 8 o'clock, talking Lion football. Let's welcome to the show. The reason you're all here, the reason you're listening is Coach Ron Roberts. Coach, thanks for being here tonight.
Hey, thanks, Alan.
Coach, we talked about it. Got a lot of publicity this week as Sam Houston State came in here. The first time they've been in Strawberry Stadium since 2013. They came in with the number 5 ranked team in the country in both the stats and the coaches poll this past week. It was a very good football game. Went back and forth, and games like this, it just kind of comes down to who can make the play at the right time. And you look at it, they probably made a few more than we did.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's plays throughout the day that obviously
we do it a little different, it becomes a different outcome. I mean, there's probably 6 plays in the game that really could change the face of that thing, and either we didn't make them or we committed some type of mistake.
Coach, I know that going into the game last week, you said we like playing games like this. We like to see where we stack up, against the best teams in the country. I mean, after saying that, after watching this game, after rewatching it, coaching in it, your thoughts on where your team is right now?
I'm proud of our kids. But I mean, they played hard. We just made some mistakes or didn't execute some things at the right times, but we played extremely hard, and we've got a good football team. I think we can play with anybody. Obviously, I think we showed that we can play with anybody in the country. We just got to find ways to win those games.
I listened to Coach Keeler's press conference after the game. He said multiple times, that's a playoff caliber team that we just played. So I mean, I think he certainly respects what product you put on the field Saturday night. And Ron, one thing I want to talk about is probably the thing that jumped out the most is we settled for some field goals, and they were able to convert some 4th downs into touchdowns. And probably the difference in the game where we were having to get 3 a few times, and they were able to convert for 7.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously a big key. Anytime you're in those tight ball games, you got to be able to find ways to get the ball in the end zone. I still think we had our chances. Special teams was huge in this one. I don't think we didn't play as well as I would have liked. Again, not because of effort. Our kids are playing hard, just making some critical mistakes there in the special teams. I think the holding call coming out third gate on the third quarter and backs us up inside our 5, and that becomes a pretty big one because the turn of events, we punt the ball and they get the ball on a 27, and they turned that into 7 points, and coming out third, right there in the third quarter. So that's a pretty big turn of events.
Ron, this was one of the leading passing offenses in the country. Their quarterback a year ago, Jeremiah Briscoe, was the Walter Payton Award winner, the Heisman Trophy for FCS football. You held them 13 of 26 passing, 50% for only 164 yards. They did run the ball, but I know that was part of the strategy. Talking to you throughout the week, you said, hey, we're going to give them a soft box. Talk about how you thought the game plan went and how you controlled their offense.
We took a couple. I like that part. We took a couple of their big key plays away. 81 and 14 are guys that have been their big playmakers, and we kind of pretty much eliminated them. We got the one 9 got a big catch across the middle, 81 got the big catch across the middle first. They got it down that, and then but besides that, they weren't able to strike the quick things, the things that they've been able to do. It really came down to the running. There's a couple about 7-8 plays there on the runs. We don't fit it right, and they not big ones, but they turn into 7-8 yard gains, and you count that over 8 times in a row, and that allowed them to continue some drives and put them down in scoring position and stuff. And I thought we got to play more consistent in those situations, and you can't let them have it.
Ron, if I'd have told you before the game that you were going to hold them to 50% passing and under 200 yards passing, probably thought you'd have won this game. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would have. I mean, I thought coming in the game, we thought really, as I planned it out, was that we were going to take away the pass, and I figured we were going to surrender 200 yards rushing. In order to do that, we were going to give up about 200 yards rushing. If we held them under 200, we were going to have a really good night. But we had our opportunities probably to hold them about 130 yards rushing if we just do. But you're asking your kid if we'd have played perfect, you probably hold them for about 130, and it's a real good day.
Ron, if you look at this game, really back and forth the entire game. And I thought one thing, especially with the strategy you went in defensively against what they do offensively, if we could have ever got ahead of them. I know we only led at one point 10-9. That was the only lead we ever had. We were tied several times throughout the ball game. But if you'd ever got ahead where they had to start trying to force the football, throw it down the field in that 6 or 7 defensive back look, might have had a little more success. I know that was probably the game plan to try to get ahead of those guys.
Yeah, I mean, really honestly, coming out at halftime felt pretty good. We're 16-16. We're going to get the ball. Thought, and obviously, if we can get the opportunity right there to take it down and put some points on the board, we're going to get in the driver's seat, and it's going to turn to a different ball game because we're going to force him to have to start throwing the football. And I thought it could have been a big turn of events. He was a little more patient than I thought he was. I didn't think he was going to stick with the run that long. I thought they would have tried to force some balls and try to throw it, and I figured when they did, we were going to have opportunities to get our picks.
Also did a very good job on third down, held on to, I think, 4 of 15 on third down in this game. But, again, they had some big fourth down conversions that we're going to talk about more throughout our program. They were 3 of 4 on fourth down. One of those was a fake field goal. Ron, let's talk offensively for a moment. It looked like they came in with a game plan that they were not going to let us especially run between the tackles, as we knew they had a great player in there, P.J. Hall, and he made several big plays in this game. Yeah. But what look were we getting defensively? I know they had a lot of guys around the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and we knew that. They were going to come in there and crowd the line of scrimmage, and figured we were going to have to take some shots, and we needed to catch them. Unfortunately, probably some of those shots, big plays we had, we didn't come up with them. That it also again probably make a turn of events there if we catch a couple of those balls over deep downfield that we hit.
Ron, I mean, we went into this game. We talked about it all last week. We were the number 2 team ranked in the country in rushing the football. I know that's what we're going to do. We're going to run the ball. That's who you are. That's what your identity is. They really crowded the line of scrimmage in this game. Is there ever a look when you look out there and say, hey, maybe we can't run against this look?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's certain runs you got to be able to do, which a lot of it was we felt we could run the football with our quarterback in the option game, which we did, and we hurt him a little bit with that. It just, and then he kind of got hurt in the fourth quarter, which kind of really, changed a lot. We had 2 more drives that I felt that, we're going to have an opportunity to go score. And with about 7 minutes to go, the game kind of changed.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Lorenzo did have a very nice night running the football. His first 100-yard rushing game as a Lion. We had a touchdown called back in this game. Just so many different plays. You look back, and when you're playing a good team, it comes down to a few plays. And,
right.
I know that's hard to, especially when you're watching the tape and you say, hey, what could have been maybe a couple of those plays. But you got to put that one behind. You got a big game this week coming up.
Oh, yeah, got a huge one, another one, and in-state game. So there's going to be a lot of excitement, obviously, again for this week. You got to play McNeese, which is always a huge rivalry game. It's a big game. This will have obviously a lot of implications on that as well. I think they're 22 or so in the country. So we're going to have an opportunity here the last 2 weeks to play some 2 ranked opponents. It's going to be great.
Ron, I know that every year the goal for your program is to get into the FCS playoffs. It takes 7 Division I wins to get there. I mean, I know you got to take them one at a time. You got McNeese and then Nichols State to end the season. But, I mean, really backs against the wall here. If you're going to be eligible, I mean, is that something you talk about with your team, or is it just strictly, hey, we got to focus on McNeese this week?
No, I mean, we did Sunday night. I just want to make sure they knew what's at stake and the opportunities where we're sitting and where we're out there. Obviously we're not going to visit the rest of the week, but I covered it with them Sunday night. The opportunities are there. We got 2 more games. We're going to play 2 ranked opponents. We get them both, then we're going to have a very good opportunity to get in the playoffs.
Ron, one thing I want to bring up with you as well is we have 2 conference losses at this point. Both of those teams that we lost to are in the top 5 in the country. Central Arkansas sitting at number 4. Sam Houston State currently sitting at number 5. So 2 top 5 teams in the Southland Conference. Both of those teams have senior quarterbacks, senior laden teams. What do you? I mean, can your team learn something from playing those games against those type of opponents?
Yeah, I mean, I thought there's always a lot to learn. One of the things that's covered with staff too is that we really had to play one of those ball games since game 1. Game 1 we get into a nail biter. It's come down to the fourth quarter, and who's going to make the final plays to win the ball game. And besides that, we really hadn't been in one of those games. And sometimes it takes time. It does take the opportunity to be there. And you're trying to get across the point across. You always talk about a team every year. Every week that games come down usually to a couple plays, but it becomes more prevalent obviously in the tight ones.
That was certainly something that I thought about during the game as well. It had been a while, 5 games. We had blown out the last 5 opponents, really dominated teams in the second half. How we would play when we got into a tight game there in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. And again, I thought we played well. I thought our kids played well. We probably played one of our better football games that we played. We still, but we made some mistakes. We had. I thought some of the special teams ones that really really cuts, and those are huge. As we try to preach to our kids, that's you in those big games like that, you got to win the special teams. You got to. That was really a huge battle of field position in that ball game, and several times we either got on a long field offensively or we got on a short field on defense.
All right, let's take a break. We come back, we're going to have more right here on the Ron Roberts Radio Show on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network.
Quick Stop is a proud supporter of Southeastern Athletics. Located at 306 West University Avenue in Hammond, right across the street from campus. Rendays is conveniently open 24/7 and serves hot Greek and Lebanese food. They also have great snacks for those late-night study sessions. They have friendly service and a wide assortment of wine and beer for all your needs. Stop by today and line up.
Mealy Printing of Covington is a proud sponsor of Southeastern football. Mealy Printing is one of the largest commercial printing companies in the New Orleans, Baton Rouge metro areas. Currently celebrating 30 years of service to their customers and community, Mealy Printing offers both digital and offset printing. For more information on Mealy Printing, please visit mealyprinting.com or visit them at 619 North Tyler Street in Covington.
Remember, our philosophy is the answer is yes. So what's the questions? All right, Lion fans, let's line up.
All right, welcome back to the Ron Roberts Radio Show. Thank you so much for joining us as your Lions will be back in action this weekend over in Lake Charles. It's a 6 o'clock kickoff as the Lions will take on Mini State this weekend. But before we get to that, we're going to talk more about this past week as the Lions took on Sam Houston State in Strawberry Stadium. A tough loss for our Lions. They had won 5 in a row coming into this game. Took on the number 5 team in the country, dropped the game 33-23. It was really a good football game, went back and forth. As we're going to kind of walk you through the game, talk about some big plays in this one and get Coach's perspective. Ron, I want to open up by talking about the way this game started. And the game is this game all week was billed as an offensive shootout, the number 2 offense in the country, the number 5 offense in the country. And then you come out on the first 2 possessions. They get the ball first. We hold them. They punt the football to us. They kick it to us. They hold us. We punt it to them. So I was like, hey, we thought we were going to put some points on the board. I didn't know if there would be 1 or 2 punts the whole night. Yeah. And really the defenses for overall on both sides played pretty well.
Yeah, I think so. And Sam's got some they're very talented. They're very talented up front. Hadn't played that well coming up to our game. But like I said, going in, I told our guys, they're going to play lights out. They know what's at stake. They're going to flip the film on. They're going to see it, Sometimes you can flip a film on and kids don't get real juiced up,
Right.
But then when you see somebody that's played, like it wasn't a whole lot for us to say to our kids to get them ready for the ball game. Just put the film on. Let them watch it. They know what they're up against.
Ron, back-to-back weeks against Abilene Christian. In this one, the wind was a major factor as well. We had a pretty strong wind in this game in Strawberry Stadium. I know that there was a couple of timeouts called, trying to punt in certain directions or have a kick field goals in certain directions. How much is that, I guess you don't really know until you get out there to play the game, but you have to start playing some strategy there with that wind.
Yeah, it was right there at the end of the first. And that's why I called the one timeout. We were down there inside the 10. I called the timeout because there was like 38 seconds, I think, on the clock.
Was that you didn't want to kick a field goal into the wind, or was that
no.
you wanted to try to kick off with the wind?
I wanted to kick off with the wind.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, so I was hoping we were going to get an out, and then we scored. We scored right at the quarter was ending, and we had to turn around. But I was trying to give us enough time that if we get this thing in, we would be able to kick with the wind to our back.
I do want to back up for just a minute. The way this thing started, the way the scoring started in this game is something I don't think we've done since you've been here, is we had a bad snap over our punter's head and gave him a quick 2 points. I know anytime you give up points on special teams, it's certainly not the way you wanted to start against a good offense. They had a good offense. You don't want to give them any points.
Right, yeah. That, again, that's the start of it, and just unfrequent, something I hadn't done in 2 years, and and we have the bad snap, and luckily again, Ivy was heads up enough to kick the ball out the back and not turn this into a disaster and make sure at least give up the 2 points.
Ron, they have a nice drive, come down the field and actually go up 9-0. They have a short field because we have to pick off from our 20. They make it 9-0. They actually score on a 4th down play. They went for it on 4th down a couple of times inside. I thought overall our goal line defense was pretty good. But they were able to convert on a little pass there to the end zone to go up 9-0 in this game. And I thought this was a big point of the game. You fall down 9-0. We ended up having to punt the football back to them again. They have the ball inside of our territory. At this point, you almost say, hey, we might get run out of the building here. You know what I'm saying? But we have a big sack by Fred Brown, knocks him out of field goal range, and they end up punting it back to us. I thought that was a big sequence, as if they go down and get points right there, it might get away from us.
Right, yeah, very easy. They jump out far enough ahead of you. A big sequence there, obviously, with that big play by Fred. Gets the one-on-one and beats the guy and comes up with a huge sack.
All right, let's talk about offensively. We're down 9-0 at this point, and we really put together a really nice drive. Go down the field. The highlighted play of that drive, we had a crossing route to J.J. Connor and takes it down deep inside their territory.
Yeah, he played really well. And consistently he has shown up big in probably our biggest games we've played in. And that's what you're always looking for, those players that who's going to show up in the big games. We talk about that all the time. It's easy to and it's easy for anybody to show up when you're whooping somebody or you're up or whatever else. But who's going to show up when it's really needed the most? And I want to say that right now, J.J. Connor's done that consistently.
Yeah, he had a big play in this one. That was the 3rd down conversion. Lorenzo put a nice throw to him, and he was able to run after the catch. Really nice play design, too. Y'all kind of ran some guys across the field and then crossed him the other way. And was able to get down there. Big sequence in the game. We have a touchdown that gets called back. We're down there, 1st and goal. That's when you called the timeout. You were just talking about it a minute ago. Looks like we're going to be able to punch it in, and we end up having to settle for a field goal. I know that there was some question marks on what the call was. It was actually on a backside block. It was a chop block. Is that correct? So kind of talk us through that a little bit. Explain.
Well, the rules, they change. So if he's got his side numbers to you, you can't nowadays. You cannot cut a kid. Or it used to be, as long as you get your head on the front, you could. So that was on the backside play. The guy did show him side. It was on the side numbers, and we cut him. And it's the right call.
So we end up having to kick a field goal there. I know you didn't like that, especially you having down there, and I know points were at a premium because you knew that they were going to score some points in this game. But we make it 9-3. We get on the board. I thought it was important. Once again, I'll let you talk about him now. Dylan Burkhardt had another fantastic game for your team.
Yeah, he did. He's been exceptional all year long, and just did a fantastic job. He's a guy consistently that we've been able to count on.
Your defense goes out there and gets a stop. We get the football back and actually put together another nice drive and take the lead there in the first half, 10-9. Lorenzo had an outstanding throw to Austin Mitchell on that drive, and I know there were some opportunities. I know earlier in the first half, Austin actually dropped the pass, or it was a little behind him, but we had a shot down the field. But it was nice to go back to him and have another touchdown catch there, and we actually take the lead there. And I was down there on the field. It just felt at that time we had a lot of momentum on our sideline when we took that lead.
Yeah, I thought we did too. But that's what great teams do. They come back and then they answered. They put together a nice drive following that and take it down for a score.
They do, and they take the lead back 16-9. Big play on that drive was the fake field goal.
Yeah.
I know that talking to you this week, you thought you might have a chance to get a block, that they had struggled a little bit kicking. Was it? I guess did they check to that? Or was it just something that was called? But do you know? I mean, at that point.
Yeah. I mean, I would say after you're watching the film, what the sequence of it is that the holder did it. He had to read it, because the kicker went through the kick because they wanted to get the scoop and score guy out of the hole, and our guy jumping, and they did also. He went through and did the action of the kick, and the holder got the ball up and ran it through the really between the guard and the tackle. Nice play. I mean, it was a nice play. And then actually we popped the ball out, and then they fell on it.
Right. Yeah. I know that was a tough break there, but they faked that field goal, go up 16-9. But at that point, we're able to put together a couple of good drives. Again, we get it down inside the 5-yard line, and I know you probably thought about it there. I think we had 4th and goal from about the 2. You decided to take a field goal and make it 16-13 instead of going for it there. I was right there next to you. I read your lip. You said, "Hey, let's take the points right here." Yeah. I thought it was the right decision, but we've seen you go for it there in that type of situation a few times this year.
Yeah. Again, and that's a debate. just because if you don't get it, at least you leave them on a 98-yard field to do anything with it. But again, I just thought it was going to be. I figured we were going to be in a close one, and this was going to come down. It was going to come down to those opportunities of points, and I also didn't want to give them a momentum back by walking away with nothing at that time.
Usually, when you play a team like Sam Houston and what they do offensively, they're putting up so many points. You don't want to get into where you're trading possessions. They're scoring, you're scoring, they're scoring. We were able to go out there and get multiple stops in a row, and that's why we were able to get back in this thing. Like I mentioned, we were down 9-0 at one point, then down 16 to 10, and then we were able to get points right before the half. Your defense was able to go out there and get some key stops.
Yeah, I thought they played really well. I mean, I really did. I thought at this point we're playing both sides, offensively, defensively. We're playing a really good football team, and our guys are battling. And that's when two good teams go at it. This is what you got, and you got a great game at the half.
Talk us through that last drive right before the half. We've done that several times this year. We're able to go down here and get points. We got the ball back with not very much time left and was able to get a field goal right before the half. I know you had to feel good about that.
Yeah, that's a huge sequence of events. You want you guys to be able to respond in those situations, and I thought, again, our guys did a good job of executing in that drive.
So the Lions and Bearcats were tied at 16 in this one at the halftime break. And again, kind of looking at the way the game started, we snap it over the punter's head. They go up 9-0. If I'd have told you at that point, hey, you were going to be tied at 16 all, you probably would have taken it at that point, especially if you knew you were going to hold them to 16 points. I thought overall played pretty well defensively, especially there in that first half. So you had to feel pretty good when you were going in that locker room.
I did. I mean, I felt right there at the time that, at 16 all that, felt pretty good that we were going to be able to keep them down. I didn't know, if it was maybe one or two more scores. I thought, that they were going to be able to get. I didn't know. But I thought if we fit a couple of these more runs right that we talked about at halftime, if we fit these things right, then I didn't know if they were going to get anything. Really came at the half that I thought with us getting the ball, if we would take the ball down and go get some points or coming out in the third quarter, that I really thought at that point we were going to be able to take the game over.
All right, well, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about that. We'll talk more about the second half right here on the Ron Roberts Radio Show on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network.
Louisiana, one luxury automobile dealership stands apart from all the rest, Mercedes-Benz of New Orleans. It's more than just offering Mercedes-Benz vehicles, it's Star Service that prides itself on customer relationships.
From valet service and Mercedes-Benz loaner cars, our customers enjoy award-winning Star Service. Come see what Star Service is all about.
Visit Mercedes-Benz of New Orleans on Veterans in Metairie or at mbofno.com.
Mealy Printing of Covington is a proud sponsor of Southeastern football. Mealy Printing is one of the largest commercial printing companies in the New Orleans, Baton Rouge metro areas. Currently celebrating 30 years of service to their customers and community, Mealy Printing offers both digital and offset printing. For more information on Mealy Printing, please visit mealyprinting.com or visit them at 619 North Tyler Street in Covington.
Remember, our philosophy is the answer is yes. So what's the questions? All right, Lion fans, let's line up.
Across divisions, sports, championships, and schools for nearly 500,000 student athletes. College sports create lifelong opportunity, and that starts with education. We've raised the academic bar, so more are earning degrees, creating healthier campuses by working with the nation's brightest minds, and making sure more have the chance to succeed and are supported on their journey. But beyond the numbers, it's about opportunity, and we're working to provide it for every student athlete.
All right, welcome back to the Ron Roberts Radio Show. We're about halfway home here on our program as we're talking about the Lions game this past week. Dropped a tough one to a very good football team in Sam Houston State, 33-23. It was a back-and-forth football game. This weekend, your Lions will be on the road to take on the McNeese State Cowboys. It's McNeese week, as the game will be at 6 o'clock down there in Lake Charles this weekend. Certainly a big game for both teams this weekend. But before we get to the McNeese State Cowboys, we're going to talk more about this game against Sam Houston State. When we went to break, we were getting coach's thoughts about going in the locker room. It was 16-16 against a really good team. And, Ron, like you said, it was really working out perfect for you. You had a chance to get kind of a 2-for-1 opportunity, had that last possession right before the half, were able to get points, and then coming out and getting the football in the third quarter to start the second half. Really the perfect way to draw it up and the way this game played out.
Yeah, I mean, right there, I felt pretty comfortable with the halftime. I think our kids did too. Thought we go as soon as we could get the lead, I thought we were going to be in good shape.
Ron, the way that the third quarter started, you mentioned it earlier, we give them a short field because we have a penalty and then another penalty and get it backed up. And the other thing about it is, as dangerous as Juwan Petit-Frere has been all year, man, I don't think you can blame him for bringing it out. He probably brings it out, about 5 yards deep. But I don't know what the rule is on that, if y'all talk to him about that, when he's supposed to come out, when he's supposed to. But, I mean, he's been so good all year, you almost hate to, fault the kid for bringing it out. It didn't work out our way, but –
yeah, no, I thought that was right return. I mean, it was the right call on his part. Usually if he's on the return side, he can go up to 5 yards deep. If he's got to take the ball back across the field and he's 5 yards deep, you can't bring it out.
So that's the rule right there. So we have a couple of penalties. We get backed up. I think we started about the 5-yard line, and then we're going into the wind. That's the other thing, the way this thing played out. I kind of had to be conservative down there. I know you didn't want to turn the football over down there inside our own 5-yard line.
Yeah, then there were some plays there, but they stopped us and obviously forced us to punt backed up, really what all you're looking for at that point is really you got to get one first down, so at least you can get out, you can punt this thing out of a regular formation and punt the thing down, at least you'll get it on their side, other side of the 50, and that's really what you're looking for in those situations, really just one first down so we can punt this ball out of here and put it on their side of the field.
Because when you're deep like that, you got to do like a one step. Is that how it is?
Well, it's one step, and we got to come in tight. So we only got two gunners out for the, to go for the punt because everybody's got to come in for protection. So you're kind of backed up against the wall. You don't want to punt in that tight formation just because you don't have much gunners, especially how dangerous they were returning the football.
So I think they actually come on the field, on the 27-yard line? Is that correct? Yeah, they get the ball to start their drive on the 27-yard line. They were to put a couple of plays together and get it into the end zone. And where, perfect scenario is you take the football down and get on top of them by a touchdown. Right. But once again, there we are playing from behind.
Yeah. Yep. So, again, that was a pretty good big swing of events just because they come out of the gate. We get the ball first, and, first 5 minutes of the third quarter, they're up 7 points.
That is correct. Now going through the drive that we were able to put together right behind that, though, Ron, very impressive. I thought that was a character drive for your team. Like you said, it didn't start the way you want to, but you're able to go right down the field and put points on the board. It gets finished off by a Lorenzo Nunez touchdown run, but 10 plays, 75 yards. And took 4:29 off the clock. Had a couple of big runs by Lorenzo on that drive. Also had a nice 19-yard run by Eugene Bethea as well, who got a majority of the carries this week. I know you've been kind of riding the hot hand, but it seemed like Eugene was the back of choice this week.
Yeah, I mean, again, he's been our guy, and he's healthy and had the cast off his hand and ready to go. And you're playing a physical football team, and it's because a lot of the time those situations he can at least. A lot of times he can run through the first, tackler, or at least run and get positive yards going forward after he makes contact.
Ron, they come back, and I thought this was a big sequence in the game as well. They go 10 plays, 71 yards, and they kick a field goal on this drive. I thought it was huge to hold them to a field goal in that opportunity. To be honest with you, I felt really good at that point. We had made it 23-23. They come down and make it 26-23. One thing, though, I do want to give those guys credit for is you question whether they'd be patient enough running the football. On that drive, out of the 10 plays, they ran it 7 times. So they came out and really were running the football there in the third quarter.
Right, and then again,
we had a pass interference call on that drive as well.
That was pretty huge in that one. Yeah, well, I think that was on second long when that occurred. So we're going to put them back into the 3rd and 10. I think it was on second down. So we'll get a chance to get, hopefully get them in a 3rd and 10 situation. We're going to get off the field again, and we'll call for a pass interference.
Ron, but I'm sure anytime you're playing a team like this and the way they move the football offensively, if you can hold them to a field goal when they get down, that's certainly a win.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, again, especially how well they've done at scoring points and getting down there. We really felt any thought those times if we can find ways to get off the field without 7 points, we're going to be in good shape.
All right, the next possession, to me, looking back at the game, was one of the key drives in the game. We're down 26-23. We were able to put together a nice drive. We're running the football. We had a couple of runs there. We put Petit Frere in on offense. He got a couple of big carries, had a run for 9, had a run for 18. We get the ball down to the 29-yard line. So it looks like, hey, here we go. We're right back in this thing. We're about to either answer or take the lead there in the 3rd quarter, and we have a sack. A big play in the game, and actually I think Lorenzo tweaked his knee on that play as well. Maybe the play of the game when you look back at it, the way that the game ended up playing out.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was pretty big. We still had some opportunities on that drive.
Yep.
After that, but the sack kind of puts us behind the sticks, and kind of forces our hand to have to throw the football.
It does, as we throw an incomplete pass, and then he actually gets sacked again on 3rd down when we switch ends of the field and have to punt the football back to them. They were able to go down and get a touchdown. I thought a big drive in the 4th quarter, a big play in the 4th quarter. I think we had them 3rd and 9, and they ran a little crosser and ran us into the official. Probably everyone remembers that, but I know a lot of teams do that. Especially these air raid type offenses ran a crossing route across the way there, and just a nice play design, and it worked out for them. I don't know what they had thrown a flag on the 3rd and 9 play and then picked it up. I don't know what the call was going to be, but the umpire had thrown a flag and then picked it up, and then ended up allowing them. I thought it was going to be 3rd and 14, but it ended up being 3rd and 9, and they were able to continue their drive. And they take the lead there in the 4th quarter, 33-23. Yep. And I still felt pretty good there that we were going to be able to go down and get some points. That was the sequence. If you remember back in the game, if you're listening here tonight, we had that intentional grounding call where it looked like it might be a fumble. They originally said it was a fumble, then it said it was an intentional grounding call. I don't know. Was his arm hit? It was a tough call, I thought, because it would have been a 4th and 5, and I thought you would have gone for it there if it was a 4th and 5 instead of a 4th and forever.
Right. Yeah. His arm was hit. Yeah, on that thing, and so obviously he can't come through with it, and it is called for intentional grounding.
That just kind of a strange call to me. I mean, it certainly was. Yep. Because if you watch a lot of football, if you get hit, that kind of negates the intentional grounding, because anytime a quarterback gets hit, if it doesn't go down to the line of scrimmage. But hey, that's I guess that's water under the bridge at this point. Ron, you're able to get a stop. They go to 4 on 4th down. We have an interception of Briscoe. Still have a couple of shots left in the game, but at this point you make a quarterback change. I know Lorenzo was a bit gimpy at this point, but I guess that was the decision at that time.
Yeah. Well, at that point he said that he could not escape the rush. He could not run. So at that point, you don't want to. I mean,
right.
He's not trying to jeopardize a kid in that situation. So we'll put Byron in.
And Byron's played a lot. He's played a lot over the last 5 weeks, but certainly not this type of situation.
No,
kind of a tough
situation.
No, not in that, because at that point they were able to change what they did defensively a little bit, because then at that point, with little time left on the clock, it was really about coming to get the quarterback. Yeah, Penier's back and come and get him. So I mean, we'll probably look back at this game later on in Byron Walker's career and say, hey, that was a good learning experience. But certainly a tough spot to put a true freshman in the game.
Yeah, it is. It is a tough spot to put him in. But again, he'll grow from it. And like I said, every time he gets those opportunities here in his freshman season, I know that obviously in the next 3 years he's going to grow from it, and we're going to benefit and reap the rewards from it later on.
And I'm sure the $1 million question that everyone is wanting me to ask is how is Lorenzo? I mean, I know he left the game and his availability, I guess, for this week.
Yeah, I mean he's sore and stuff like that, but he'll be fine.
It looked like to me that his brace got twisted again whenever they brought him down on that first sack in the game. And Ron, I had a chance to talk to you on the field after this game, and I could tell obviously you were very disappointed with the outcome. And I know your team put a lot of effort in this game. It was building for the last few weeks. Hey, if we can just keep winning, we're going to set up a monster game with Sam Houston State. And I guess the question is, we're going to turn our attention in a few minutes to McNeese State. How do you keep this game from beating you twice? How do you keep this game? How do you let this one go? Because I could see it on your kids' faces. They wanted this one bad, thought they could get it. And when it doesn't work out that way, is what's the message to your club now moving forward?
Well, obviously, pretty much a lot of things we talked about. We talked, about that, being in this game and what is it? It comes down to 6-7 plays here and there. Whether it be in the first quarter or fourth, there's those plays out there that really could have affected the ball game. It's not just always happening in the fourth. I was, again after the game, I was probably a little more disappointed just in that. I thought we had fought our tails off for 3.5 quarters, and then we get to the 7-minute mark, and we're not going with our guns firing. We don't have our guy taking the snaps, and don't think we're fully loaded going out there to give our best opportunity and a shot to win it. At that point, so it was 7 minutes. I got 2 timeouts, and I still think we got a chance to win this ball game, and just felt at that point that our kids didn't. We just didn't have our best foot forward at that point. And I thought our kids played their tails off and put a lot in the ball game to put us in that spot and put us in that situation. So, but things is it's learning from the mistakes we made. It is what it is. So hopefully we get in that situation again or get in a fourth quarter game, 'cause that could happen this Saturday. And understanding that special teams are huge and we can't put ourselves in short fields, especially when we're in big games like that. And you're going to be in a tight game against a really good football team. You can't commit certain mistakes we did. So we look for them to grow from that, and then next thing is shake it off. We got a big game this week. It's an in-state game, so I'm pretty confident our kids will show up ready to go.
Ron, I know that the last couple of years we haven't been in the playoffs. We've had some big games certainly, but haven't been in the playoffs. A program like Sam Houston, the last few years they're in the playoffs. They're playing those games. They're playing in these type of games, and I'm not saying they looked a little more comfortable, but they've been there, more than we've been there here in the last couple of years, and that's the only way you learn is playing in these types of games.
Yep, no doubt, it's huge. I mean, that's again, you want to get in them, and when you don't do it right, obviously you got to learn from it. But the ultimate thing is you got to get in those situations, be prepared to do it right. And they're a good football team. We knew that. I mean, but we considered ourselves to be a top 10 team too. So we felt like we can play with anybody. And that's been our message, that we can play with anybody in the country. We take care of our business. Just do your job and do it well. And so we got to kick this one off and come back this week and redeem ourselves.
Ron, before we turn the page on this one, anybody stand out to you? Individual performances in the game thought played pretty well in this one against Sam Houston?
Yeah, I mean, I think Maori Ellison I thought played really well. Corner, I thought he played really well. We manned him up majority of the night and played help on the other guys. So everybody else got help except for him, and he really had a monster game to shut his guy down. They made some great plays in the run game as well. So I was real proud of him, the way he responded, the way he stepped things up. And he's had a really good year too, but I was really proud of the way he did in that game because we put a lot on him. Basically, he got manned up all night by himself, Lee Spite did some really good things in the run game. I thought he had his most productive game all year long, really as a defensive player and the things he did. Fred Brown, offensively, I talked about J.J. Connor already. I thought he, played well in a big game, just stepping up. Juwan Dickey made some huge catches again, and obviously Lorenzo. I thought Lorenzo played really well. I think he played a really good football game for 3.5 quarters. I'd like to have seen him with the ball in his hands 7 minutes ago and see what we could have done.
I think all of us would have. I mean, he played a really good game, and I know a lot of people walked out of the stadium maybe that hadn't seen us play this year that said, man, that quarterback's really good. And, I mean, we've been seeing that all year, no doubt, as certainly a dangerous offense when number 10 is back there pulling the strings. All right, let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we're going to turn our attention to this weekend as our Lions will take on the McNeese State Cowboys in a 6 o'clock kickoff in Lake Charles, right here on the Ron Roberts Radio Show on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network.
Quick Stop is a proud supporter of Southeastern Athletics. Located at 306 West University Avenue in Hammond, right across the street from campus, Rendays is conveniently open 24/7 and serves hot Greek and Lebanese food. They also have great snacks for those late-night study sessions. They have friendly service and a wide assortment of wine and beer for all your needs. Stop by today and line up.
NCAA Division I FCS football is a game of perseverance, integrity, passion, character, and sportsmanship. As he works to honor the game, every FCS student-athlete grows in his responsibilities as a student and as a member of his campus and community. Dedicated to personal growth and success in the classroom, the NCAA Division I FCS, every down, every day.
Hey Lion fans, this is Coach Jay Ladner, head men's basketball coach here for your Southeastern Louisiana Lions. I want to remind everybody, get out and get your season tickets. We've got a great season coming up. Line up.
All right, welcome back. Here at the Ron Roberts Radio Show. We have just a few minutes left to go here in our program as we're going to spend the remainder of our time talking about the McNeese State Cowboys. Certainly a big game, as almost because I guess the way that the schedule played out, where you had these three in a row, where you had Sam Houston and then you had McNeese back-to-back. I don't want to say that McNeese has gotten a little overshadowed, but this is always such a big game on the schedule every single year, and I guess it's just different because it's fallen right after another big game that we just had. But this is a big rivalry. I know a lot of people around the Hammond community, if you ask them what is the game you look forward to every year, this is the one. You know, McNeese State, as it's always a huge game, especially when we have to go over there. And we've had some big wins over there. The last time we were over there in 2015, it was a very good football game. That was probably the best team they've had in the last few years. As they went, I think they had a national seed that year in the FCS playoffs. We dropped that game 21-7. Last year, if everyone remembers the crazy way that one ended with the Hail Mary pass there at the end.
Yep.
Ron, I know you've had a lot of success against McNeese. You're 4-1 against the Cowboys at this point in your tenure here at Southeastern, but certainly always a big game when we go over there and take on the McNeese State Cowboys.
Oh, it'll be huge. And, obviously we go there, expect what it is. We'll probably be a packed house. They usually put about 15,000 in stands. So it's going to be a hostile environment. It's important for us really to come out and start fast and hopefully try to take that crowd out of it. Because it will be a loud crowd and it will be a hostile environment over there.
Certainly a lot on the line for both teams. If you look at McNeese State at this point, I think they're 22nd in the country right now, ranked in the FCS poll, in the coaches poll. They are 6-2. They had been on a roll as well, as they dropped their first game of the year in a heartbreaker, 37-35 to Nicholls State to open the season on a last-second field goal, and then they had won 6 in a row. Last week they had to go on the road and take on Central Arkansas, and we know that's a tough place to go up there and play, and the Bears got after them a little bit and knocked off McNeese 47-17. So they have playoff aspirations as well, and this is a big game for both teams and a lot on the line.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. And they're a very good football team. Watching them on tape and stuff, they've got a great defense. They've got a really talented quarterback. They got really good skill people. They're playing really good football. They ran a little buzzsaw. It was a tighter ball game. It was about 17-10, I think, late in the second, and then Central Arkansas blocked the punt. I think they picked them off about 3 times.
I know they blocked a punt for a touchdown, and they had a scoop and score on a touchdown on a fumble as well. So they had a couple of defensive scores against McNeese. I know McNeese was leading the game 10-9 at the end of the first quarter. You talked about him. Their quarterback is James Tabery. He's out of Holy Cross High School there in New Orleans. He's a transfer, I think, from Arkansas State. He played for them last year, and they're doing a lot of that. It's a spread. A lot of quick passing games. Is that correct in what they're doing offensively?
Yeah, I mean, well, they haven't changed a whole lot over the years. I mean, it's McNeese offense. They're about the same thing since the 6 years I've been here. They put a little wrinkle in here or there, a little more out of the gun now because they got the kid that they can throw it. But traditionally, it's pretty much the same offense. They dress it up a little different formations and stuff, but they're pretty much doing the same things.
I know it'll be strength on strength in this one because defensively, McNeese has been one of the better teams in the league against the run. I know that going in the last week against UCA, they were only giving up about 65 yards per game rushing. I mean, against teams running the football on those guys. I know their coach is Coach Guidry. He was our D coordinator for a long time, and when they're good on defense.
Yeah, and they're the same thing. They're really good on defense right now. They're playing extremely aggressive and fast. They're very athletic on defense. So that much hasn't changed, and they're gonna. And I think they only gave up like 80 yards rushing versus Central Arkansas. Well, Central Arkansas hurt them was throwing the football. They hit them with a bunch of deep passes, several big plays over the top, and But running the football will be a challenge, and the same thing's gonna happen. They're gonna provide some one-on-one matchups outside, and when we throw it, we got to be able to catch it, and we're gonna have our opportunities to make some big plays in the passing game as well.
Overall series history in this one, McNeese State currently leads the overall series 23-19. Lions lead in Hammond 13-7, but over in Lake Charles, McNeese has a lead of 16-6 over there in Lake Charles. Again, like I mentioned earlier, the last meeting between the two programs a year ago, they came in to Strawberry Stadium ranked 19th in the country. The Lions knocked them off 31-24 on the play that will probably always be remembered as Allo to Acker, the crazy play. I know it was all over the all of our promos for season tickets this year. It was one of the best plays in Lion football history, kind of that Hail Mary to end the game against the McNeese State Cowboys. And Ron, I guess sum up a little bit what this game means. I mean, there's a lot on the line when you talk about in-state opponents. I know that they're a program that they're used to getting in the playoffs, and that's their thing as well. And I know y'all are always on the same type of kids when y'all are recruiting.
Yeah.
Certainly, this is a game that means a whole lot.
Yeah, it means a whole lot. As far as especially recruiting purposes. It's in-state bragging rights. It's there's a lot at stake. This is. There's been a huge rivalry game. It's been some great football games. I know at least the last 6 years been every time it's been a great football game. So, like I said, our kids will be. I know our kids will be fired up for this one, and they're excited to play them. Going over there just kind of makes it a little more special. To be honest, because it is going to be a great environment. They do a great job. They'll pack their place and. They are probably one of the highest attendance in FCS football, and it should be a great night for football.
Those that are listening, if you're wondering if you're not going to make the trip to Lake Charles, we always have a strong contingent, though, that goes over to Lake Charles, and we encourage you to do that as well this weekend. The game will be televised on CST, Cox Sports Television, as well as on ESPN3, and always you can listen right here on the network. Lions and the Cowboys will tangle this weekend. It is a 6 o'clock kickoff, a little earlier kickoff than we've been playing at 7. 6 o'clock kickoff this weekend against the McNeese State Cowboys. Got a couple of questions here tonight as we have a few minutes left to go on our show, as it's our Ask the Coach segment. We do this every week. You go to lionsports.net. You can click on football and send in a question, and it'll come to me, and we can talk to Coach Roberts about them right here on the air. Coach, first of all, this one comes in and says, this is from Tim from Hammond, says, Coach, can you talk about some seniors on your program who have stood out in their senior years?
Well, yeah, and I would probably start with, there's some guys get a lot of credit, but one who played really well Saturday was Jeff Williams, safety. He played really, obviously, defense. Max Lyons gets a lot of attention. Sione gets a lot of attention. Tume, Jake Giannone, Mike linebacker, has had a fast. I think he's played really well all year long. Mayor Ellison, who I already mentioned earlier, corner, is playing well. Ryan Seeger's been here for 5 years, and he played really well. Had about 3 pass breakups Saturday. I think he played really well because he got a lot of the man jobs in the slot versus number 9. Oh gosh, I'm forgetting.
Jedediah Lewis.
Jedediah Lewis, who's probably one of the premier receivers in our conference.
He's the all-time leading receiver in the Southern Conference.
Yeah, and so Seeger's got him man to man a lot of times in the slot position. I thought he did a really good job, and had 2 or 3 pass breakups, some huge ones.
He had one, I know, on a big third down where they had to settle for that field goal. He broke it right to the right down there and made a nice pass breakup as well.
Offensively, you talk about Eugene and the things he's done. I thought he's been a great, everything he asked for as far as work ethic, his mentality as a running back, everything he's done here. As a senior, up front on the offensive line, Michael Vick, a 5-year guy. Travis Romero is a 5-year guy. Those guys have done a pretty amazing job. Juwan Dickey, he's the only senior at wide receiver we have. Those other guys mentioned Paxton Sims, who got hurt early in the year, so hasn't played very much lately. Still, had their knee surgery there around week 1, hopefully we'll play in the next 2 ball games, and so we got a bunch of seniors that I thought really stepped up and played well. I need them to play their best football in the next 2 weeks.
Cool. All right, Coach, here we go. Jimmy from Tickfall says, Coach, is Briscoe one of the better quarterbacks you have coached against in your career?
Definitely, yeah. I think probably more so. I mean, he's got the arm and all that stuff, but his decision making is really good. How quick he can see stuff. I mean, by the second time we did some pressures that he hadn't seen. So by the second time we did them, he would pull the ball out and throw hot. And that's pretty big time for a college quarterback to do those things. And that's why he doesn't take sacks. He's a great decision maker, and he's got a great arm. And like I said, he'll have his opportunities to continue to play. I don't think he's done playing college. He's not done playing football.
I'll tell you, I had a chance to be down there on the field when they kind of were going through their walkthroughs. He's a lot bigger than I thought he was. He's a big kid.
He's probably 6'5", 220.
I mean, he's a big kid. I think they list him at 6'3". There, I think they're shortchanging him. I mean, I'm 6'2", and he was way bigger than me.
Yeah,
so.
I think he's got to be around 6'4", 6'5".
All right, Coach, here we go. Final question tonight. David from Hammond says, Coach, can you talk about McNeese and their 2 defensive ends? Seems like that's their strong part of their defense.
Yeah, well, the whole front, the front 4 is a strong part. I mean, honestly, they're all, big athletic guys. And that's kind of the way Southland Conference goes. I mean, the more experienced you are and the better, defensive line you go, you have an opportunity to control the game. I think their whole front 4 is pretty athletic and very active. They're athletic out of the relations, obviously, linebacker and DBs. But it'll be one of the better defenses we've seen all year.
One tidbit I did want to throw out there that I forgot to mention earlier. One thing about McNeese, 2 weeks ago against Incarnate Word, they set an FCS record. They had 4 pick sixes. 4 in a game against Incarnate Word. Certainly something you don't see very often. But 4 interceptions run back for a touchdown.
It's pretty impressive.
That's wow. That's pretty crazy. Ron, a couple of minutes left to go here on our show. I know that last week you're disappointed the way that the Sam Houston game turned out. Played well in the game, like you said, for 3.5 quarters. Had a chance to win it there against the Bearcats, a very good team. Didn't go your way, but now you look forward to the McNeese State Cowboys. Give us your final thoughts of the night.
Yeah, again, I'm pleased with our kids. I mean, like I said, the work ethic they put in and being preparing for that ball game and even over the last 6 weeks, I think they've done a tremendous job. I'm proud of our kids and the foot they put forward. Maybe we can play better. Yeah, no doubt we can play better. And I thought that really, honestly, I think we played one of our better football games all year on Saturday. But we still can play better than that because there were still those mistakes, some big ones that we, could change the outcome of the game. But I think really across the board, we did play one of our better football games. Just played against one of the better football team that we've seen also. So I'm looking forward to this week, see how well we do bounce back, see how fast we bounce back. I always try to say this, it don't matter, either way. You win that one, the thing is that you really control your own destiny. We didn't, so now we kind of got to hope on some things roll our way, or you're going to pull down to somebody sitting in a committee room. Are they going to see you're good enough or not? But we have our opportunities, and that's golly. I mean, that's why you play the game. That's why you're here. We have we're sitting here and last week October going into November, and we have an opportunity to get in the playoffs. Oh my gosh. I mean, there's a lot of football teams that don't have that right now. They can't say that. They don't have that opportunity. So we have an opportunity. I'm glad we get an opportunity to play 2 ranked teams. it's going to look a lot better on a resume. And just got to go out there and take care of business.
Well, Ron, thanks for being here. As we'll see you this weekend in Lake Charles against the Cowboys.
All
right, 6 o'clock kickoff this weekend, Southeastern and East State. You want to be there. If you can't be there, it's televised on CST and ESPN3. And always, you can listen right here on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network. I want to thank everyone who came out here tonight. Also want to thank Toplock Catering for being our host, everyone who gets us on the air each and every week. For Coach Ron Roberts, I'm Alan Waddell. We'll see you next time right here on the Ron Roberts Radio Show on the Southeastern Sports Radio Network.
You've been listening